information to assist with recovery efforts and first responders during critical periods of water shortages, contamination, depletion, and loss of local water supplies. Let's take a look at the impactful work of Mr. Moses West.
The King Center presents a beloved community spotlight.
Using his extensive engineering experience and knowledge gained while serving in the military, retired Army Ranger Moses West works closely with the U.S. military and the state of Texas to mitigate the prolonged effects of drought. He does so by advancing the technology of atmospheric water generators. As the CEO and founder of AWG Contracting, he established the Moses West Foundation to provide the world with water crisis relief by addressing disaster-impacted zones, water scarcity, and water rescue. Using his charity, he can raise funds necessary to manufacture advanced water generators that may be dispersed worldwide whenever there is a water shortage. Moses has proven that the atmosphere is a source of water that is limitless in its ability to provide a vital water source for many critical areas of society. Moses uses the technology in Puerto Rico on the island of Vieques to supply a significant portion of the island with potable water. This is the first time any large atmospheric water generator has been used to address a natural disaster. West's use of AMGs to address the water crisis in Flint, Michigan and Jackson, Mississippi were both historical events. This was the first time industrial atmospheric water generators were deployed in the United States to solve a water contamination issue on such a large scale.
The decentralization of water, is that where we're going towards right now?
Right now, I think it's the democratization of water.
Okay.
Because right now, people can pay for bottled water, but what I'm doing right now for you is everybody has the right to have water. But right now, just like you have a cell phone, you can pull a signal out of the air. I'm making a machine for you. You can pull water out of the air. So where you have a neighborhood that doesn't have any water, we can make enough money in donations, put a machine there. Everybody can have water out of the air for free with a piece of machinery that does it. The same way you ride a bus, the same way you fly a plane, the same way you drive a car or do anything. This machine makes something. It makes something out of the air that everybody can have, rich or poor. But the poorest of the poor right now are the people who need this technology.
Okay, that have been your biggest roadblocks in this journey? You said you've been building machines for the Army, for the military for 10 years now?
10 years. The biggest roadblocks to this whole situation right now is there's people who don't want to see it happen. Like, so people don't know that I got sued to stop the mission in Puerto Rico. I got sued to stop the mission in Flint. And it was a law firm, Richard Rodriguez and Skeet, out of Austin, Texas, and a guy named John Vollmer actually shut down that mission in Flint. They shut it down twice, but I broke the law twice and opened it up again.
Hold on, so I'm trying to wrap my head around this. You invested your time, your energy, your IP into a machine, and you sent it somewhere to provide free water, and then you were sued to stop providing free water. You were now breaking the law to provide free water to people who did not have free water because a crime was actually committed against them within like their lack of infrastructure.
Absolutely. When you start a company, you have partners within a company. So these guys within the company, what they decided to do to stop that mission with that machine that I built, all the machines that I've deployed, I built. So what they did was when they destroy a company and then you have access to your technology that you built, what they do when they saw what was happening, they actually came in and sued the process to stop providing water to the people of Flint.
The people of Flint know that there was an outside attack on them through you?
No, they don't. This is the first time I'm really talking about it. Right now, the King, this award right here from Martin Luther King, his daughter. This is the height of it. So everything that's ever happened to me over the process of doing all this stuff at this stage of my life right now, I don't want to hide that anymore. So right now, the things that I go through to get this thing done as a black man in the United States is absolutely incredible. But here, this is the pinnacle of awards that I could ever hope to receive. I used to listen to Martin Luther King on albums when I was a little kid because I was growing up in Germany.
Yeah.
All the soldiers would get records of his speeches there when I was a little kid.
Wow.
So what I grew up with was listening to Martin Luther King talk about freedom, equality, and I didn't understand anything about it because I was a little black kid growing up in Germany at the end of the Second World War. I wasn't here to experience all that, but I was there. And then from there, we went to, we started listening to the writings of Frederick Douglass. And then from Frederick Douglass, we went to W.E.B. Du Bois. And then from there, we went to James Baldwin. And then that's the education that I got. And to be here today, what's that? OMG? You want to sue me in Flint to stop me from providing water to black people, white people, anybody who's been disenfranchised? You want to stop me from doing it? You want to sue me? Hey, we're here today being recognized for the work of trying to democratize water and make sure everybody has it. And the guy who I remember as a little kid listening to his speeches, and I'm here today, I'll tell you all about it. The technology that you see, that you've seen like in Puerto Rico and Flint, that I've been working with for years, what I'm making now, nobody's seen. When you don't hear from me or I'm not posting something online, I got my happy ass in the shop. I'm making stuff. I'm not idle. Don't ever think I'm idle. Right now, I know how to make water sub-zero. I call it sub-70. I can make water in the desert. I can make water in the Arctic. The equatorial zone, that's the easy stuff. I can make it at high altitude, I can make it at low altitude. When people leave me alone and I'm able to work and I don't have to keep posting stuff and just going out and talking about these things and going and deploying, I can concentrate on what I need to do. And right now, the concentration, what I'm doing right now, since the world, we're in the sixth major mass extinction event, right now, what my goal is to ensure that the technology is developed to the fullest of its extent that I'm able to do in my lifetime. I've got less life left than I've lived, so I've got a lot of work to do.
How, when, where, how can people tap in?
Well, right now we're looking at a place in New York, in Niagara, New York. We're looking at moving into there and actually building the machines. Right now we're working with Cami Kitchens out in Jackson, Mississippi. Representative Stamps in Jackson, Mississippi. We've got a town in Mississippi that's already on board with wanting the technology there. So I'm concentrating on the places where people understand the technology, because the first place where I roll it out is the place where everybody can come and see how it's done. But it's not just water, it's vertical grow operations with food, it's doing it on solar power, it's renewable energy, it's the whole net zero concept based around water, which is step 6 in all the 17 tenets of sustainability. What we're supposed to go to save the planet.
Right to the UN. And
Yes.
So what's happening with Moses West? This is Benji, aka Be Conscious. We got my co-host here,
Adaobai from DeepRoots.
Absolutely. And it's just a pleasure and an honor to tap in with you this evening.
Thank you.
Are you excited about this evening?
Oh, hey, when I was sitting out there and I met Ms. King, I tell you what, I almost cried. I got on the phone, I called my mom.
Yeah.
I tell you, as a little boy listening to Martin Luther King, going from Martin Luther King, listening to his speeches when I was a kid, listening to him on albums or the radio. Then when you listen to Martin Luther King, it takes you all the back. Then you have to study Frederick Douglass. You have to study W.E.B. Du Bois. You have to study James Baldwin. You have to read all these things and understand where you come from. And this guy, Martin Luther King, to be here today, my entire family in Georgia, from Homerville, Sandy Bottom, Columbus, Phoenix City, Alabama, all the way up here. I've talked to relatives tonight here in Atlanta, and everybody is just so absolutely proud that that someone with that bloodline has come this far, and I'm excited. I This is the pinnacle of anything I've ever done.
Shout out to the West family, man. Shout out to all of y'all.
West, Parham, Marshall, O'Neill, Williams, Lynn.
Love it. With any amazing thing, right? There's always some naysayers out there. I call them the nay police, right? I'll call them the nay police, right? So, have you encountered any nay police out there? People who are naysayers who may think that this is a bad idea or she should turn back now, run for the hills. Like, what's going on with that?
Well, there's only a few. Like if you look at the thousands of people that support the technology and moving ahead with it, for the few people out there that'll say something like, "Oh, you're going to destroy the atmosphere with a machine," you do not understand anything, because if you think one machine is going to just dry up all the water in the Pacific Ocean,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's crazy for someone to eat. I don't want to call anybody. You can't say that word. I'm not going to say that word.
Right.
But you
said earlier.
Right. I know what you're talking about.
you can't say that word.
What's understood don't gotta be said.
But you just can't. You can't. You need to learn more.
Yeah.
There's there's three. The water only comes in three forms: a liquid, solid, and a gas. If every bit of water that's in this building is going to evaporate, it's going to go in the air, and we are going to catch it when there's nothing with it.
We're here after the awards. How do you feel?
I tell you what, I feel very humble that so many people actually knew about what I've been doing. You know, people tell me how many people know, but just what happened afterwards was very energizing. But then just to come out here, when I thought my seat was way over in the corner, and then I wound up being out front here and being honored that way, I didn't expect that. I just thought I was just going to come and they were going to say something about it, and to be invited here specifically by, Miss Bernice King, that was, I don't know, it's just it's the pinnacle and the vindication of 10 years of hard work and all the troubles and all the pain that you go through, all the long hours, the 20-hour days, the traveling, to outside of the United States and going into disenfranchised communities and going places that it's rough, it's violent, it's bad water, bad food. I mean, in Puerto Rico, there was a point in time I was living on beans and rice. In Flint, if you were in the neighborhood in Flint, there was nothing you couldn't get that wasn't full of sugar or salt.
How do you just talking about you going into these disenfranchised communities? I can imagine that the emotional impact for you coming in there to provide a service for water, but you're seeing all these other things outside of the water. How do you manage that and kind of deal with that?
Oh, you cry. You can't hold it in. You have to let it out. I have a therapist, and from the trauma of military service and the stress that you go through from that, then it takes years to get over that. And so then you come into these communities and you see it again. I remember one time in Flint, I just had to crawl on top of that machine, that big machine. That's my private spot up there. And I just laid down one day and I just had to cry because of what I was seeing. I couldn't believe that I was in the United States.
I was talking about my co-op earlier and how it is centered around community. And there's a reason why I started a co-op, not just any other type of LLC, because that ownership is also responsibility.
Absolutely.
And that's something that has not been discussed in our community as it relates to uplifting ourselves. Like, we have to take responsibility for what our lives are going to look like after we, uplift ourselves out of this horrible situation.
Right now, at the age where I am, I'm the tail end of a generation that works with his back. And so right now we're going into a place where we're starting to make our hands, knees, and backs weaker because we're sitting down, we're so idle. But what we need to do is we're getting to a place, if the power goes out, what's everybody going to do? They're talking about the grid shutting down. these radicals, these far right radicals, have already shut the grid down in a couple of states and tried to damage it. We've got political turmoil. We've got climate change. Look at California. That place is a hot mess. This cold weather that's come down has shut off power. It's breaking water pipes. So people are going to get to a place. There's thousands of people around the United States right now that don't have power. People are going to have to learn how to work with sustainable technology. Solar panels. That neighborhood out there in Florida that didn't get touched by that hurricane, they had solar panels. If they were growing food and they were producing their own water, that's what a sustainable city is. We're going to have to step a little bit backwards because this supply chain issue is not going to maintain. It's not going to hold up. And so this technology and other technologies like it, people are going to have to go back out and be somewhat physical with how they live. That's what I see.
I mean, that we don't really have a choice, do we?
No,
I mean,
and they have to participate.
Yeah, you have to participate. And I mean, again,
Co-op.
this goes back to the co-op. If no one works in the co-op dies. That's it. We're done. However, because it's a co-op, it's in my best interest that you are great. And it's in your best interest that I'm great. So that means that we both have to show up and get to work.
Absolutely, and that's where we're moving to right now with this climate disaster. Now I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy that all this has happened, but I'm happy that my focus on this whole thing is water.
Right.
Water. You're not going to run out of water. You're not going to run out. We got plenty. It's all in the air.
As for the other systems, we got to get together and get that sorted. You've been doing good work getting us some water.
I'll let everybody else sort out the rest of the
The
stuff.
least we could do is get to work and figure out everything else.
We'll get the water.
No, you've done so much. You've served the country. You're getting us some water. You're not only getting us water, but you're showing us that, like, this isn't rocket science.
No, it's not.
It says it's easier than flying a helicopter.
But it takes a long time to learn it. It's like getting a PhD in how to make water. So I have a PhD. I'm a doctor in how to make water.
That's great, but it's still doable. You know
absolutely.
What I'm saying? So that's awesome. What's next? Where are you going to be? I mean, I know you're about to get back to work, to your machines, but
building for the military and finishing up Jackson, Mississippi. Getting that machine, that $250,000 for Cami Kitchen, and doing that, and probably working up with in New York, trying to put a factory in up there and put a bunch of people to work.
About how many people are going to put to work in New York?
Sheesh. If I have my way about it, I don't know. I could probably put 1,000 people to work.
1,000 people to work. Wow. To get water for their families.
Oh, no. More than water. Water, food, power, energy, complete sustainability. And then just train people and just multiply that all across the United States. You could put hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people to work in sustainability in the United States.
So you're getting us clean water while also helping us build foundations to have sustainable systems.
Clean water, sustainable energy, doing it off solar, temperature differential, hydrogen, organically grown food, using that clean water, no plastics, no forever chemicals in that, and then also sustainable living comes with that, and just everything goes with it. Composting goes with that. When you produce water and you can do it from sunlight, you're got the foundation of all 17 tenets of sustainability.
What are the 17 tenets?
I don't know all 17, but I know mine is number 6.